Oh yeah, here's Michael Knowles. I mean, this guy's so desperately trying to, and we're doing our best here, right? I mean, we're trying to give him some attention. There's a lot of clamoring and fighting over there at the Daily Wire, and at the commissary, people get a little bit upset. You know, Matt Walsh very upset that Knowles is trying to hone in on his anti-trans rants. Trying to outdo him. And so Knowles comes, it's basically coming for the rack he wants to, or it's worse than the rack, right? We're just talking about, let's bring out the gallows.
Hey, Michael. Sitting here enjoying a lovely leftist tears tumbler. Turns out the leftist tears are quite delicious when paired with a lovely bourbon. Doing some thinking, and
pause it for 1 second. I was like, what is this, a phone call that he's getting? Like, why does it sound so good?
It's like a voicemail service.
It sounds exactly like Michael Knowles, though. Like, I thought it was like the AI.
The best is they call in, they're talking about liberal tears with his whiskey.
Yeah, all the love the signifiers. Like, I got is there a cigar there too? I hope so.
Yeah. Incidentally, I should just say, those aren't tears. I urinated in your whiskey. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Hey, Michael. Sitting here enjoying a lovely leftist tears tumbler. Turns out the leftist tears are quite delicious when paired with a lovely bourbon.
So good.
Doing some thinking, and I was wanting to get your take on something fairly light, public execution. Do you think in our civilized society, in our modern Western culture, do you think that there's a place for public execution? I'm sort of struck by the fact that we don't tend to see the, I guess, lethal injections now. And I don't know that the deterrence is truly there for criminals with our current handling and implementation of the death penalty. So, love to hear your thoughts. Thanks.
Certainly. Can we just dwell on that guy? Like, what a weird guy.
I'm just sitting here drinking a whiskey, and I thought I'd leave a voice message for Michael Knowles.
About how we don't see enough people being put to death by the state.
Like, what? We've been incarcerating people in the better part of their lives and killing people, but somehow the deterrent's not working. Maybe, what if we just did this in public?
Televised it.
All right, we can get to his answer.
Thoughts? Thanks.
Certainly. Yeah, I think that would do a lot to bring back the deterrent effect of capital punishment, certainly. But furthermore, it would be good because people just don't see death, period, anymore.
Pause it for 1 second. But first of all, what do you mean bring back the deterrent of the capital? But when was the cap? Incidentally, all the research suggests, and this has been studied to death, that there is no deterrent effect for capital punishment. No. There is no deterrent effect. So I don't know what he means by bring back. And I don't know what he means by people don't see dead people anymore. Like, where was this guy? Like, what did this guy time travel from the 1800s?
Yeah, when he used to keep
frontier?
Dead bodies in the family room for a week to visit. Like, what is he talking about?
It's unbelievable, but go ahead.
Period anymore.
But go back.
We used to see death.
We used to see death? How old is this guy? Is he's like 122 or something?
From Encino.
Just don't see death, period, anymore. We used to see death. I'm not saying we want more people to die, but we need to recognize that death does happen. We try to run away from death. We try to hide death. We hide aging. We pack ourselves full of cosmetics. We pack ourselves full of all sorts of surgeries to pretend that we're not aging. And then when people look like they're about to die, we shove them off into special little centers, hospice and old age homes, and we try to just separate them. When they do die, we don't really do open casket wakes anymore. We don't do proper funerals anymore. We do these brief little celebrations of life. We burn up the body as quickly as possible. We ignore the fact that death has happened.
So to compensate, let's start hanging people.
Well, just to be clear, I went to a wake, an open casket wake, like 4 days ago, like a week ago.
Like the thing that has changed is like, okay, yeah, they're at funeral homes instead of the parlor now. Like that's a change since 100 years ago. Like,
it's a very strange, I don't know what time he's referring to that he experienced something differently. The guy's like, what? He's like, what, at 35?
Past lives. Maybe he has past lives.
40? How old is the guy?
Let me just double check.
45?
He's got to be 40, I would hope.
Well, okay. Google search says he's 33. Is that possible?
Jesus. Oh, boy. He's looking old. But be that as it may, I am 56 years old, and I can assure you that we didn't have dead bodies around around town when I was a kid. Go ahead.
Of life. We burn up the body as quickly as possible. We ignore the fact that death has happened. Then sometime later, maybe you will have a celebration of life ceremony where you basically just gather with your friends and have dinner to try to process death. But it's a death that you won't look in the face.
What?
And so we live our lives trying to put it out of our head, but death is very important. It's one of the four final things: death, judgment, heaven, and hell. You are living your life as a preparation to die.
What about taxes?
You need to be prepared for your death. In the olden times, people would pray for a good death, by which they meant a death that they saw coming, that they could prepare for, that wasn't sudden. Today, people pray for a good death, meaning they don't want to know what's happening. They basically want a piano to fall on their head so that they're just walking along one day with their Frappuccino, having a lovely time thinking about, I don't know, whatever they just saw on Instagram, and then it's all over and they think they go to oblivion. They don't think that the soul persists after natural death. And so our view of death is just so perverse now.
That we should start.
And we're so separated from it that, public executions would also help us to have a little memento mori. Of course. Next question.
First off, the reason why people want deaths like that is because capitalism made it so difficult at the end of your life. There is no venerating old people. You incidentally, I should tell you, Michael Knowles, you belong to a party that 24 months ago was calling for the death of old people via COVID just to get them out of the way so that we get the kindling burnt off. Personally, I think I am against capital punishment. But if we're going to have it, we should put it on TV. We should make the American public realize how barbaric this practice is, where we as a society in the cold day openly and methodically kill someone.
Yeah.
As a society, we decide that we have made a determination that actually premeditated murder is not, or I should say premeditated killing, to be very precise here, is okay if you have a good reason to do it. That's basically what the message of capital punishment is. And if we're going to do that, then you're right. We should put that on TV and everybody should own it. But the idea that this has anything about making people die with honor and giving them an opportunity to do that, there is an opportunity to do that. Let's up Medicare and Medicaid to give people end of life care, and also allow for people to have some control over the timing of their deaths. A lot of people who, may not want to take cancer treatment or in pain, and we don't allow that in the vast majority of states in this country.
Right. Yeah, I love the small government people saying small government, but we should have the state regularly execute our fellow citizens, and that should be a part of our culture.
91 Route 5. It sounds like Michael Knowles missed the Catholic teaching on the death penalty being inadmissible.
I don't think he's a Catholic.
It's amazing. It's amazing how this guy can be a fundamentalist Catholic and be for the death penalty. Never mind for the death penalty, but also like for public execution. I just find that.
I guess he is a Catholic. He's born in 1990 as well.
Like, what era was it that he was being exposed to all this death? Like in the early aughts? I guess maybe he's talking about 9/11.